Welcome back to another slash command tutorial. So guys, in this one, I'm going to go over a command that I actually haven't done or nothing like it. This is going to be a little bit more of a fun command. I think it's pretty fun, and I'm actually going to show you how it works first before I show you the code, just so you guys can decide whether or not this is something you want to add to your bot. Now, I came up with this all by myself, I'm proud of it, and you can do slash gamble, and it's a game called Three Doors. And the reason why it's called Three Doors is because it gives your users three choices. So here you're going to be able to gamble an amount. Let's say I want to gamble 50. If I click gamble 50, it's going to bring up an embed. It's going to say playing three doors for 50 coins. Each door has double coins, lose half, or lose all. So behind one of these buttons, there's lose half, lose all, or double your coins, right? So you get to choose, the fate is in the user's hands, which door they want to use. Now they only have a 1/3 chance of doubling their money and a 2/3 chance of losing at least some of their money. So that's why it's pretty risky. And you can change the odds of this if you want two of these to be double coins or not. And you can see this is what will happen if I select. They're randomly chosen, and just so happens that I picked double coins, which is the optimal choice, right? But you guys can up the odds if you guys want two options to be double coins, or if you want to have one option double coins and two lose all. I just added a little lose half, so it's not as bad for the user. But yeah, you guys can change the odds, or you can do more doors, or you can just do two doors. So yeah, if you want to code this command, I'm about to show you exactly how to do it, and I'll just demonstrate it one more time. So gamble doors, three doors, amount, and then I'm going to say, let's say I want to gamble 100. It's going to say playing three doors for 100, and I'm going to pick, let's see if I can double our coins twice. I'm going to pick door one. Let's go. I swear, guys, that it's completely random, but what can I say? I'm just a good guesser. I should go to the casino now. So anyways, go ahead and pull up VS Code, and just like always, go to the commands folder, and let's add a new command. We're going to call this gamble, gamble.js. And so this is going to be more of like a general gambling command. I'm going to add subcommands to this so that if you guys ever have more ideas for different games, you can all add them to the command gamble. And then like such as in this case, Three Doors is the game I came up with. And that game is a subcommand of the gamble command. And this will make it so that you guys can add way more games to this command if you want. So like maybe in a future video, I can go over how to make blackjack or some like slots kind of odds as a command, but whatever you guys want, definitely let me know in the comments. But anyways, let's get started. So as always, we go to the ping command, we copy the ping command, and we go to the gamble command and paste that. There we go. So to get started, we are going to need quite a bit of imports for this project. So as you can see, we used embeds. As you can see, we used buttons. And always we're going to use the profile model. So let's import everything. So from discord.js, along with the slash command builder, you're also going to want to import button style. And this will be used to obviously style the buttons. Then we're going to say const, and we're going to take an embed builder. So embed builder, and then we're going to take action row builder. So this is how we're going to be able to build a row of buttons for our command. And then you're also going to want button builder, and we're going to take this from require, and then it's going to be at, so the @ sign discord js, and then slash, and you should get like a little pop-up here, and you can select builders. There we go. So that's all the things we need from builders. And then we're also going to want to take in the profile model, just like everything else. So profile model, and we're going to require, and we're going to take that from the models folder, and then profile schema. There we go. So that's all the imports we need. We got that out of the way. Now let's start on the data attribute, and let's set the name to gamble. I'm going to set the description to gamble with your coins. Again, you guys can, of course, set this to whatever you want. And just like I said, I'm now going to add subcommands. So the general command is going to be gamble, and then this subcommand is going to be add subcommand. And I'm going to take the subcommand just like an option. Subcommand. You can actually call this whatever you want, but just to keep it, uniform, we're going to take subcommand and then we're going to set the attribute. So set name of the subcommand. I'm going to call this 3 doors. Again, I don't want to be a broken record here, but you guys can name this whatever you want. And then set description. I'm going to say can double, half, or lose your gamble. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to add an integer option. So this is going to be the option of how much they want to wager for this gamble. So we're going to take option and we're going to set attributes on the options. So we're going to say set name and we're going to set that to amount. We're going to set description and we're going to say choose the amount you want to gamble. I'm going to then set a max value to 100. So you guys can again set this to whatever you want, but just beware that, like, let's say the only reason why you would want to set limits to this is because potentially people are able to double their coins, right? So they could potentially gamble everything. And so let's say they had like 1,000 coins, boom, now they have 2,000, now they have 4,000. And I don't know, it depends what your intentions are for the coins. So if you end up wanting to have a shop later, that might make people, have a little bit too much money where you'll then have to inflate your prices later. So it's very important when you're building an economy bot early on to think about things like that. So I'm going to set the max value at 100. You don't have to set a max at all, but I do recommend at least setting a min value, and I'll tell you why. Because so when you do the half option, so we are allowing them to do half, you don't want 1 because, how are you going to half 1? You're going to have a decimal there. So just choose 2 as the minimum, and then we can also say set required as true. And that's everything we need to do for the data for this command. So now let's go to the execution. And what we're going to say here is we're going to pull in profile data. And the reason why we need profile data is because we need to check and make sure that they actually have the amount of coins that they're trying to gamble. But first, let's do some initial setup. So let's take const. We're going to get their username and we're going to get their ID from interaction.user. We're then going to take their balance and we're going to get that from profile data. There we go. Then we're going to get the command that they're using, the subcommand. So we're going to say const gamble command is equal to interaction.options. And we're going to say .get subcommand. There we go. And then we're going to say const gamble embed. And then we're going to simply create just a new embed. We can't really add any information to this, but I think it's good to just use the embed builder once at the top. And then you can always change the title, description, the color, whatever later. But we'll set a default color for now. And you can set this to whatever you want, but this is the color we're going to do. So 0x00AA6D. That's a nice green color that you saw on the embed. There we go. So yeah, and then this is where you can break up the logic for your various different subcommands. So what you'll say is if gamble command is equal to, and then in this case, it's going to be called 3 doors. So you'll just add the logic for 3 doors in this if statement. And then for example, if you had another one, you can say if gamble command equals, for example, blackjack, then you can simply add the logic in there for blackjack. But for now, we're just going to do this 3 doors and make sure this is triple equals as well. All right, there we go. Now let's start the logic for the 3 doors. Now this does get a little bit complicated, but bear with me. Everything's going to work in the end. You just hold on, try to get it step by step. But there is a lot going on that you have to do for this one. So here we go. We're going to first take the amount that they want to gamble. So we're going to say const amount equals interaction.options.get integer. And we're going to take that from amount since that's what we named it above. Then we're going to check their balance to see if they even have enough coins to use this command with the amount that they said. So we're going to say if balance is less than amount, that would mean that they don't have enough in their account. So then what we can do is we can say await interaction.defer reply. We can then send a hidden message with ephemeral as true. And then we can return await interaction dot edit reply. And we can say, you don't have, and then we can give them the amount that they entered, coins to gamble with. So that will just return a hidden message to the user, and it will end this command just telling them, hey there, you don't have enough money. Then what we can do is we can do await interaction dot defer reply. And this is just telling Discord we are about to reply, but we have to calculate some things first. So we're going to create each button right here, and then later we're going to change the attributes of the button depending on what they press. So first, initialize the buttons here with const button 1 equals new button builder. So we're going to use that button builder that we used, and then do set custom ID. And then for this one, we're just going to call this 1. Then we're going to set the labels. So the label is actually what the user is going to see on Discord. So I'm going to say door1. Then you can set a style, and that's what we got button style imported for. And then we're just going to set that as primary. All right. Then we're going to create another button, 2 more. We're going to say const button 2. And we're going to say new button builder. And then we can say set custom ID. We're going to say 2. We're going to set the label, and we're going to say door2. And then you can set the style, same thing, button style dot primary. And then we just need one more button. So we're going to say const button 3 equals new button builder. Button builder, where are you? There you are. Button builder, we're going to then set the custom ID to 3. We're going to then set the label to door3. And then we're going to simply set the style to button style dot primary. There we go. So now we have 3 buttons. They're all pretty much the same, just with different IDs and different labels, slightly, very slightly. Then we're going to create the row. So this is what we're going to send with our embed. We're going to say const row. And we're going to say new action row builder, and then we're going to say dot add components. And then we can pass in button 1. We can pass in button 2. And then we can pass in button 3. So we're just going to pass all the buttons that we just created into this row. So now this row is comprised of 3 buttons. And then we can say gamble embed. So no, not gamble command, but gamble embed. And then we're going to set the title. Wow, this is really giving me bad recommendations here. Set the title and then say playing 3 doors for the amount that they chose, amount, coins. And then we can set the footer. You can pass text into the footer, and we can say each door has double coins, lose half, or lose all. There we go. Then we're going to send them the buttons and the embed. So here we can say await interaction.edit reply. We then can pass an object, and we can pass in embeds. Inside of an array, you want to pass that gamble embed that we just edited. And then also you want to pass in a components. So components. And then also in an array, say row. So guys, just make sure when you do this, these have to be inside of arrays. You can't just say like components as row, because it's going to map over this array. So you have to pass it in. If you are getting error, this is probably why. And yeah, so now we have that. We have sent that to the user. Now we can say const message equals await interaction.fetch reply. And so what we're doing here is now we are gathering the message that we just sent. So I'll write that in the comments, gather message we just sent. So this is the message that we just sent right here. We're now going to take that and we're going to add a listener on top of that so that we can tell which button they clicked. So let's create a collector. So we're going to say const filter, and we're going to say I for the interaction, and we're going to say I.user.id, and we're going to want to make sure that this is equal to the interaction.user.id. There we go. We're only going to listen to a button press if the button press is from the person who used the initial command, which should make sense. And then we're going to create the collector. So we're going to say const collector, and we're going to say equals message.create message component collector. So that is a big one, but it's very important that you guys spell that right. And then it's filter time, and then we're going to give them 60 seconds to respond. So 60,000 milliseconds. You can of course change this time to whatever you want, but yeah, make sure that this is create message component collector. It's a mouthful, but it will help us out a lot. All right, moving on. Now we're going to declare our labels for our buttons. And the reason why we're going to declare them is because we don't want them to be strings in case, for one, if you guys ever want to change your labels, or two, just because it's easier to write code when the code can be auto-completed with your variable name. It's not going to auto-complete with string. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So we'll say const double, and then we're going to make this equal to double coins. Then I'm going to say const half, and I'm going to set that to lose half. Then I'm going to say const lose, and then I'm going to set that to lose all. And so this is what they're going to see on the buttons, and I'm just saving them into variables so that we can use it in our code a lot easier. Next, we're going to make a helper function, and we're going to say const get amount, and we're going to take in a label, and we're going to take in a gamble. We're then going to say let amount equal negative gamble by default. And we're going to say if label is equal to double coins or whatever we want to set that as, then we're going to set the amount to the gamble. So basically in this function, we're figuring out what should we modify their balance with. So in the case that the label of the button that they chose is double coins, then that means they should be added to their account a positive gamble, which is what they chose. Then we're going to say else if label is equal to half, then we're going to say amount is equal to negative math.round, and we're going to say gamble divided by 2. And the reason why we're putting math.round, just in case it's an odd number, then you're going to have to round that number because we don't want decimals in our database. So in the case that they lose half, it's going to be negative half of their gamble. I hope that makes sense. And then we're going to return amount. There we go. And you'll see where this comes in later. If this function doesn't make sense to you right now, or you don't see a purpose in it, don't worry. We're going to use it down the line. I just want to put it up here because now we have to write our collector, and our collector is going to be a big one, but that's it. All we have to do is write this big long collector, and then we're done. So now we have to get to the meat of how this command works. It does get a little messy. There probably is a better way to write this, but this is what I came up with. And you guys, if you guys ever want to optimize it, go ahead. So let choice equals null. So we're just gonna to initialize choice here at the top, and then we're going to say collector. So the collector we created, and we're going to say collector.on, and we're going to say collect. So while it's collecting, we're going to say async I. So you're going to take the interaction, and then we are going to add all our logic in here. So we're going to first create an option. So we're going to say let options, and we're going to pass all the buttons in here. So button 1, button 2, and then button 3. The reason for this is now we have to decide where is the lose all, where is the lose half, and where is the double, which button is which. And obviously we want this to be random every single time. So first we put it in an array that is length of 3. We're going to pick a random one from this, and then we're going to stuff the double in there. So let's say we get a random number and it's 0, the index of 0. Then we're going to put double in here and we're going to take this out. We're going to slice this out of the array. And then it's just going to be an array of button 2 and button 3. We're then going to select another random index between these two. And then let's say, for example, it was button 3. We're then going to slice this out of the array. And then we're going to just have an array of button 2. But if my explanation doesn't make sense, don't worry. We're going to do it right now in code. So const rand index double. So this is going to be the index of where we put the double coins option. And we're going to say math.floor, math.random, and then we're going to times that by 3. And the reason why we're going to times that by 3 is because at first the length of this is 3. So this is going to pick a random number between 0, 1, or 2. Then we're going to say const double button. And we're going to say options. So the options array that we just created, we're going to say dot splice. So SPLICE, splice. We're going to splice it at the random index that we just got. And we're going to say only splice out one of the options. And so the splice function actually then creates an array. So for an example, it's going to return something like this. So let's say that the random index double was the number 0. Then it's double button would then equal this, button 1. So it would equal an array with just the option that we spliced in there. So since we know this is only going to have 1 in it, we can then take the first index of that. So we're going to basically pop that out of the array. Then we can say double button. So whatever button was chosen, we can set the label. And we're going to set that label to double. If you remember, double is equal to double coins. So that's just that string that we're going to pass in there. That's going to be the label of double button. And then we can also set disabled as true. We're actually going to do this for all the buttons, setting them to disabled as true, because once we have made it here, this would mean that the user has already chosen and they only get one choice. So then we want to disable all the buttons. But here we go. That is the first button that we have found. Now options should only have 2 options in it. So we can say const random index half, and we can say math.floor, math.random, and we can multiply this by 2 because now there is only 2 options in there. Just like before, we're then going to get access to the button itself. So we can say const half button, and we can say options.splice random index half, and we're only going to take one of those options. It's going to return an array, and we're going to take the first item out of that array. Then we can say half button. So this is the button that we chose at random for the half. We can say half button dot set label as half, which again is lose half in this case. And then we can set disabled to true. So we're going to also disable that button. And then we have one more button, and we should only have one option left in the options tab. So we can just say const 0 button. And this one's going to be easier because we already have chosen that. It's going to be whatever's left of the options. We're going to say 0 button dot set label. We're going to set that to lose. And then we're going to set disabled as true. There we go. So now we have all those buttons with the correct labels randomly chosen. Then we are going to change the color of all the buttons, and we're going to make it gray. And then we're going to take whatever they chose button, and we're going to make that green, just to emphasize which button they chose versus the ones that they didn't choose. So to do that, we just have to do manually button1.setStyle, buttonStyle.secondary. And then you can actually copy this line, and we're just going to just duplicate it twice. We're just going to change this to button 2 and button 3. So now all the styles are set to secondary. We're then going to see which one did they choose. So we're going to do an if statement. We're going to say if.customID. So if the ID of the button that they chose, so custom ID, is equal to 1, which if you don't know where this is from all the way back here on the buttons. We set the custom ID to 1, 2, and 3. So if the custom ID of the button that they chose is 1, then we're going to set choice, which right now is null. we're going to set choice to equal button 1. Then we're going to say else if I dot custom ID is equal to 2, then choice is equal to button 2. And then we can say else if I dot custom ID is equal to 3. Whoops, 3. Then we're going to say choice is equal to button 3. There we go. Then for whatever choice is, so now that we have found what choice is, depending on what choice is, we're going to set the style. And this is going to be the green button. So button.style, button style dot success. So this is going to be the one button. Even though we just changed all of them to secondary, we're going to overwrite that for only one of them, the one that they chose, and set that to green. We're almost there, guys. Stay with me. Now we are going to say const label. We're going to get the label from the button. So it's going to be label of choice.data.label. We're then going to use the function that we created up here of get amount, and we're going to say const amount change. So this is going to be however much we have to add or subtract from their account. We're going to say get amount, and we're going to pass in the label that we just got from the choice of the button that they chose, and then we're going to pass in the amount. So this is going to the amount that they tried to gamble, that they chose in the command. Then we have to go to profile model, and we're going to take this amount that it calculates from their account. So we're going to say await profile model dot find one and update. We're going to pass in, just like always, user ID is going to be the ID that we took out from the top. So let me go up there and show you. We took the ID right here from interaction.user. So take that out, and then you're going to want to increase balance, and you're going to do that by amount change. So the reason why in this function it sets a negative amount is so that we can only, so that way we only have to access the profile model once, and it will be negative or positive depending on what the label is. So this will calculate, that will calculate the amount we got to either subtract or add, and it will go in here as a negative or positive value. All we have to do left is give them a response telling them of what they chose. So we're going to say if label is equal to double. So if this is the double label, then we can say gamble.embed, and we're going to set the title to say doubled. You just doubled your gamble. Or again, you guys can add whatever you want. That's just the message I'm choosing to write. And then you're going to want to also set a footer with a text of backticks. I'm going to say username, so whatever their username is, gained, and then the amount change, so AMT change, coins. And then we just have to do a case for each label. So we're going to say else if label equals half, and then you can just copy what's up here, paste this down here, and we're just going to say, well, ... you just lost half your gamble, which is a big rip, but you know, it happens sometimes. And then we're going to change the footer to username lost, the amount changed, coins. Then all we have to do is one more case. We'll say else if label equals lose. We're going to do the same thing, copy it over, and we're going to say, oof, big oof, you just lost your entire gamble, which is obviously worst case scenario. And then the footer can be the same as the one above. Then what we want to do is say await I.update. We're going to update the embed with the gamble embeds that we just edited. And then we're going to update the components. And we're going to update that with row which is going to render all these changes that we just made, like changing the labels and changing them to disabled and changing their color. Then we're just going to want to say collector.stop. And there we go, guys. We are now done with this command. That is it. I know that it was a lot of code. I know maybe some of it doesn't make sense. Some of it does. Hopefully it does. There are definitely different ways of coding this. Probably you can do it with less code if you guys really try. But hopefully this works. So let's open up the terminal. You want to do as normal, node deploy commands.js. Then we can start up node. Start up the bot. All right, it's connected to the database. It's ready. Let's open up Discord and let's try it out. So let's do /gamble 3 doors and let's do the amount of, let's start off with 50. All right, so it says playing 3 doors for 50 coins. There's a typo there, but that's okay. Each door has double coins, lose half or lose all. I'm gonna go with door 3. Double coins. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm on fire. I don't even know if I want to risk it again. But yeah, that's how the command works. Apparently I can't get it wrong. I kind of just want to test out. Please let me get it wrong. Let me do it again. Let's get door 2. Okay, double again. Okay, let's do it one more time. Can we get a lose all, please? There we go. We lost half. And it says we lost -25 coins. That's how you do the 3 doors gamble command. You guys can implement this if you want into your Discord bot. I think this is a good way to get people engaged into your server and have them actually, you know, have fun in your server. This is one of the more fun commands that people can use. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see from me in the next video. I can add even more gambling commands if that's what you want. If you want to see more ways that your users can get engaged, you know, have fun with their coins. I also want to get to eventually creating a shop so that your users can actually spend their coins, because obviously your users are eventually going to ask, what can we do with these coins? Other than being on the leaderboard, what can we do with these coins? So that's also a video that I'm going to be making. So stay tuned. Please subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.